Correcting passive voice misuse, common mistakes and pitfalls. Hello and welcome to our English language learning video series. Today, we will be diving into the world of intermediate grammar and exploring the topic of the passive voice. In particular, we will focus on common mistakes and pitfalls when using the passive voice. So, let's get started and uncover the secrets of correcting passive voice misuse. Before we delve into correcting passive voice misuse, let's quickly review what the passive voice is. The passive voice is a grammatical construction that emphasizes the receiver of an action rather than the doer. It allows us to change the focus of a sentence and highlight what is being done to the subject. For example, active voice, John baked a cake. Passive voice, the cake was baked by John. In the passive voice, the subject of the sentence receives the action, and the doer of the action, or agent, may or may not be mentioned. Now that we have a basic understanding of the passive voice, let's explore some common mistakes people make when using it. Identifying and correcting these mistakes will help you improve your English and make your communication clearer and more effective. Mistake 1. Confusing active and passive voice. One common mistake is confusing active and passive voice. It's important to understand when to use each form correctly. Remember, the active voice focuses on the doer of the action, while the passive voice emphasizes the receiver of the action. Always pay attention to the subject and verb arrangement to determine which voice to use. Mistake 2. Using the passive voice unnecessarily. Another common pitfall is using the passive voice unnecessarily. Sometimes, people overuse the passive voice, which can make sentences sound wordy or unclear. Consider whether the passive voice is truly needed to convey the intended meaning. In many cases, the active voice is more concise and direct. Mistake 3. Omitting the agent. When using the passive voice, it's important to include the agent, the doer of the action, when necessary. Leaving out the agent can create ambiguity or confusion. Make sure to specify who or what is responsible for the action, especially in formal or academic writing. Now that we have identified some common mistakes, let's focus on correcting passive voice misuse. By understanding these corrections, you can enhance your writing and speaking skills. Correction 1. Switching from passive to active voice. If you realize you've used the passive voice when it's not necessary or when the active voice would be more appropriate, switching to the active voice can clarify your message. This involves rephrasing the sentence to make the subject the doer of the action. Remember, the active voice is often more direct and concise. Correction 2. Including the agent. To avoid ambiguity or confusion, include the agent in your passive voice sentence when it's relevant or required. This adds clarity and ensures that the reader or listener knows who or what performed the action. Correction 3. Revising sentence structure. In some cases, revising the sentence structure can help correct passive voice misuse. Experiment with different sentence arrangements, such as changing the order of the subject and object, to achieve a more active voice. This can make your writing or speech more engaging and dynamic. Congratulations! You have now gained a better understanding of correcting passive voice misuse. By being aware of common mistakes, such as confusing active and passive voice,